Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be creating an art journal page. However, the process is going to be very mindful. So yesterday, if you were on the channel and happened to see my video on the Oracle deck, this page here is what I was talking about in that video. So as I was introducing my Oracle deck, I also spoke about how I tune into the messages of the deck to create art. So from the first 8 cards that I shared, I drew a random card, and the card that came out was this one, which is blocked. So now I decided to create a mindful journal page, keeping this as my inspiration. When I look at this card, it talks to me about how sometimes in life we feel blocked, where our light feels blocked and we're not able to see beyond darkness. I'm generally going to be inspired by that theme as well as all the colors here, and I'm going to be using these in my page today. So first up in this process, what I usually like to do is journal a little bit about how this theme talks to me and begin creating my page in that manner. So this also helps me break a blank page, and I then don't feel blocked about how to carry things forward. So quickly, it's just some messy writing, a few lines about how this resonates in me. Maybe today in life, if I'm feeling blocked or if a fear is holding me back, that's exactly what I'm going to journal about. So here, I'm just going to finish doing this and I'll then be back with the next step. Now with that done, like you can see, I've just basically scribbled, and since I'm using a watercolor paper, it's so grainy, it becomes even harder to write on it. But the idea is to just let your feelings out, vent them out, write about anything that's holding you back so that it's out there, and then you create with it. So with that done, now I can begin playing. And today I decided to use my watercolor inks. These are the Aquarella Liquida liquid watercolor inks which I got in Spain. So you could use your pigment powders, your sprays, any other watercolor sets that you have, like the watercolor cakes. You could also use acrylic paints by diluting them with water. So anything is okay. I just personally really enjoy using these inks because they're so free flowing and they just let me follow my intuition, just follow the voice of my soul and create free-flowing art. So here I've picked out the colors, like I said, based on my card. So I have yellows, orange, pink and a slight reddish violet. The pink, the violet and the red would come in later. First I'm just going to focus on using the yellow and the orange. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit here on my work table directly. Of course, a palette comes handy here, but I just end up using whatever I have from my work surface directly. So pouring the ink down there and just create some free-flowing circles with the water so that when I add the ink, it all starts merging and creating beautiful textures. So just random circles. Again, I'm just doing this very randomly, but also focusing around this area where I've written, just different sizes. And now I will start adding the lightest yellow, just dabbing it randomly, taking in a little more water to get that flowing. And I don't really want perfect shapes here, I'm just playing, not having any fixed structure or idea. And gently going in with the darker color, dabbing it in so it all starts merging wherever it meets. So this process is very relaxing and calming and soothing, because all we're doing is just sort of letting the colors merge, let the water run its course. And I'm also just going to pick out a darker shade of orange here for a little more vibrancy. With these inks, you can see I don't need too much, just a little bit goes a long way. And sometimes that's why I quite enjoy working with these, because you just need a dab, a dot, and then magic happens. So same way like our Lindy's magicals, you can just sort of mix them with water and use them as your watercolors, or even the sprays. I quite like how vibrant and bright it looks so far. And now I'm just going to add a little more, like a semicircle at the bottom here. With this done, I'm gently going to take my mini mister and spray water so these circles start flowing a little bit, and so they lose their kind of a structure, whatever has been created here, and then just loosen up a bit. And that's the idea of playing. So with that done, that's what we have so far. And now I'm just going to go in with my black Uniball pen and create loose circles around these free-flowing ones, just random rings. And now I'm going to use my darker colors, the red, the pink and the violet, and a few stencils here. I've just randomly picked out some StencilGirl stencils. Nothing specific, just an abstract texture to add a little stenciling here and there in between all these circles that I have loosely created. So here I'm just using a baby wipe, dabbing it in the color and randomly stenciling in between as well as overlapping the circles. So this is going to add the next level of dimension and also just bring the whole picture together. And now I'm just going to go in with a little bit of splatter. So here I have the yellow color and just splattering it. Next up, I'm adding the orange that I've used. So I'm using the same colors that I've already used. And I can talk a little about why or how I was inspired to do this. So the ring of my card, the sunlight, was what inspired me to create these circles, mimicking this light of the sun. And the splatter is just everything trying to break free and burst out. And like you all know, splatter is something that I quite enjoy adding into every piece of mine. So splatter to me speaks of this freedom, this breakthrough, when you sort of are trying to reach towards the light from your own dark spots. So sometimes in life, these dark spots become very essential and necessary because of course they teach us how to walk our way into this light. So With that done, my splatter is complete and I'm quickly going to dry this. Now with that done, I'm going to go in with some black acrylic paint to bring in that element of darkness, and I'm going to be using the same stencil to add a little bit of the texture on my page. So with that done, my dark, my light, everything looks really good, and I quite like how it looks when I look at this card just as my inspiration, as well as, like I told you, the mindful part about using this whole concept of block and moving through this darkness to the light. Now I'm just going to highlight these rings that I've created using a black Sharpie marker, as well as adding some white highlights with the white Uniball pen. And usually I like adding some loose texture, a little doodling, a little zigzag, just making it messy, mimicking thread-like structures, because that just creates more texture and just a little scribbly effect here and there. And now all I need is a focal element for this page. Of course, it looks complete the way it is, just some quotes would also do good. So I'm just going to take a moment to decide what I would like to add here as a focal element and then be back. Okay, so I just looked up my stash and I found this packet of Emphera, which comes from Illustrated Faith, which has a lot of these circular elements which I think would look very good on my page as a focal layering, as well as I found some die cut elements that I usually store from other projects, and I'm just going to quickly now layer all of these down. I'd like to use some foam tape on these because that will just bring some depth and dimension, separating the focal element from the background. So I'm just going to use some foam tape, add a little tacky glue, and just work on my composition, basically layering all of these elements together to complete it. And I'll also use the Tim Holtz ideology stickers to add my sentiment. So that completes my journal page for today. Here's a closer look. Of course, this one doesn't have too much shimmer, but it's vibrant. It has a lot of bold colors and simple play, inspired, like I said, by this card. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today with me just creating this mindful journaling. If you do enjoy such videos, please give it a like, hit the thumbs up and let me know. Also, like I always say, truly appreciate the comments that you leave below. So thank you for taking your time, stopping by, watching the video and saying something about it. I look forward to creating and inspiring you all. Until the next time, take care and bye-bye.